I feel bad for people who come before us. I just kind of keep doing my same old stuff, but what the heck, it's good stuff. So I'm Rod Moores. I run Bell Warriors. I sort of run NCAFA in a way, and I played Queensway Titans, which then became Myers Riders. I played a year there, then I played at Sraba Gordon, then I played at U of T, then I played in Europe, then I started playing touch football. I played touch football, then I started coaching Bell High School touch. I didn't even know they did that until 2003 or so. So then I coached my wife's team, which is a very good team, and I kept coaching women's touch. Started the Bell Warriors non-contact program, run that, coach flag, led the switch to flag in 2020, where it used to be just girls touch, and then we wanted to, felt like a perfect time to rebrand with everything going on in flag in the world, and we switched to boys and girls flag. And so anyways, I have a good amount of experience. I'm going to be a little simple. For me, the detail is starting simple and just building. I'm a teacher at Bell High School, retired now, so I love trying to break things down into pieces and assembling. And that goes for the offense. So, your group comes in, you're there for the first practice, and I'm just going to try and build up from the beginning of what I do when we all come together. The first thing I do is really let's start figuring out the quarterbacks. When you can identify and develop quarterbacks, the whole thing gets better, because if you have a quarterback that can make completions, your receivers are going to get better because they can make accurate throws. Your defense is going to have to get better because the ball's not hitting the ground all the time. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is start playing catch, but I bring in a quarterback bend to it. Anybody here not feel like they have the greatest throwing arm and would like to throw a little bit better? I need a volunteer. Who would like to learn to throw? Come on up. Trying to decide if I should have you by the camera side or me. Let's come up. Go over here. So, the first thing I do when trying to find quarterbacks is start teaching them to think like the quarterback, and that is the ready position. And the ready position is this shoulder is going to point where you want to throw. So if I want to throw that way, I want to here. The second thing, I want them to take a step in that direction and then throw with a nice body action. So I call putting your body into it. Just before that, though, I have to teach them how to grip the ball properly. Who has bigger hands, you or me? All right, a little bit bigger. I, with bigger hands, grab with 2 fingers off the laces and 2 fingers on the laces. Some quarterbacks will only have 1 finger on the laces, but I call this in line with the laces. Does everyone see what I'm getting at there? Whether they're on or off, they're in line with the laces. 2 nowhere, no chance for those. They're surrounding the white line. 2 off, 2 on. Get a good grip. Okay? So, show me a good grip. 2 off, 2 on. She is spreading the fingers out. Sometimes people put their fingers close together. No, you want to have it like you're palming a basketball. Fingers spread out. Okay? So, I'll get to you in a sec. Throw me the ball. It's like a snap. Catch. Turn. Get a grip. Throw back. Catch. Turn. Get a grip. Throw back. Catch. Turn. Get a grip. Now this time, let's say we throw in a bunch, and you know what a good grip feels like? Do not take your eyes off me. Turn, get a grip, feel it, ball up here, throw. Okay? Can you get in the ready position? Catch, turn, get ready, throw. Catch, turn, get ready, throw. Do it without looking at the ball. Why is this important? There's a big difference between playing catch and being a quarterback with getting a rusher. I've known this, but it's gone up a lot more. I'm really working with my quarterbacks on throwing with the rush close. Too many quarterbacks have to throw when the rusher's 4 yards away instead of learning to throw when the rusher is 1 yard away. That's a big time difference for making a decision. So now she's catching, turning, not looking at the ball, keeping her eyes downfield, and step and throw. Now I'm going to try and help her throw the ball a little better. Dan, you're going to catch. Now, I'm old, well, I wouldn't say old school, but when I think of good throwers, I think of today, Joe Burrow, Tom Brady, Dan Marino, Joe Namath going back, and I call it throwing big. Today, there's a chunk of people that kind of throw whippy, and they still want hips, but they kind of like this, and I don't do that. There's a lot that we would share. Hips are the power. This is the engine right here. Okay? I'm more of a Brady, a Joe Burrow, where it kind of feels like the whole body moves into it. Okay? Everyone's kind of whippy, and I just don't like it because I just feel these elbow issues, and I just.
Can you tell he doesn't like the Kansas City Chiefs?
Patrick Mahomes is not as much like that. Patrick Mahomes is fantastic. He's in between. I don't know how funny he holds it funny. But I would say he is not as pure a thrower as Joe Burrow. He is an incredible quarterback because of his mobility, his arm strength, this and that. But he does not have the pocket arm that Joe Burrow has. Let's not fight about that now. That's just my opinion. So, yeah, Patrick Mahomes is fantastic. I have no trouble saying he's above Joe Burrow as a quarterback. I'm interested to see if he plays flag football in the Olympics because I'm not sure he would be as suited for that as people think. But anyways, so I like to, when I've looked at you, we're going to get you to step a little more because you have a sort of a shallow, timid step as opposed to sort of really getting it going in that direction. My point here is I like trying to help quarterbacks throw better. Tons of videos, all right? One guy I do like, there's a sniper school one. He and I are a lot more similar. But I just want to have some stature to it. I just don't like elbow, I call it a chicken wing. I like some robustness to your throw. So, what I'm gonna do now is I want you to exaggerate the front step a little bit. One little thing I do, kids often go and step with their back foot and throw. So I want you to stand in the ready position, and I want you to pick up your left foot and balance. Step and throw to your target. Good. Jesus. Sorry. Andy, can you do me a favor, and can you just sit on the other side, and if you feel that camera's in any danger, actually, we're going to do, come on back. You're going to stand more in line with the bag, Dan?
Yeah.
Thanks. Here we go. Catch, turn, get ready. Step and pick up your front foot. Yep. Sorry. Good.
Okay.
That's all right.
I really can't catch.
Yeah. Here we go. So, we've already now got her stepping a little more forcefully to the target. Okay. This part's a little trickier, but I'm going to show you a little more about it. Simple. Right now, you exhibit a little bit of I need to give it a spiral. You don't need to as much. It's more here, pull, thumb down. So in this one here, stand in the ready position, reach back. Don't throw yet, just reach back. People, when they reach back, love to pre-twist. No twist needed. Look how comfortable I am. Can you tell my right arm is relaxed? See how relaxed it is? People love to do this. And you're already putting strain here that you don't need. So, reach back. Good. Little things I do just need the ball sideways and down. Look at your target, step and throw. Good. You see the nose was more down. That actually is showing more control of the ball, and that's going in the right direction for me in terms of how I want you to throw. Reach back, relax, firm, look at your target, step and throw. You see a little better spiral there? We're going to do it again, and I want you to feel thumb down. Keep driving through. I know for some of wants to throw better. She's showing a lot of potential here. Reach back.
She progresses every throw.
Firm the wrist. Too many people like this. This to me is a weak wrist position. I like it firm. This is me. I think it's good, but here we go. Look to target. Step and throw. Good. You're starting to see her do this more. That's really good. You're seeing the nose come over. This is good because now she can throw higher knowing the ball is going to come down. We'll just do one more. Reach back, firm the wrist, look at your target, right to his face. Good. Thank you. You were great.
Not bad.
Can you do this every try? I did not, that was not staged. That was too good. That's awesome. So, can you do that in every practice? No, that might be a pre-practice or a post-practice. But getting that quarterback to turn and get ready, get a grip on it, step into it. I was just yelling at my Bell Warrior kid. We were saying, yelling, that doesn't sound very nice, but here's what I yelled at. Throw it harder. Because there's game throwing and there's playing catch. And every time you lob it, no problem, but too many people have a chance at the ball. The quarterback's job to throw. Now listen, I'm talking in general. Am I having you 10 whip it at each other? No, we're trying to feel it out. But as they get older, the quarterback is 5 to 7 yards back. They're starting to be long throws. You can't be lobbing it. You want a firm throw. Get it on them. So they're too often thinking, oh, I've got to be gentle. No, it's your job to throw. We need to develop their hands and catch better. Okay? So, I try to help my quarterbacks. I think it's a constant, it drives your team. The quarterback that you can develop to be better and better. It's going to make practice better. It's going to make games better. Keep trying to get your quarterback to develop. Every time you can get that quarterback to throw another 3 or 4 yards, your offense has got much better because the defense has to respect that deep throw, which opens up the short throws. Okay? So now I've tried to show you developing the quarterback. Absolutely key. Now we've got to be able to catch. All right? Here we go. So, first thing, catch, thumbs together. Okay, just like that. Come on down here, Dan, so the camera can see you. So this is what I call the thumbs catch or the diamond catch. Show them the diamond, everybody. Thumbs or diamonds, I call it. So we're just playing catch. We're trying to work on that catch. So he caught it really nicely there. It's just sort of stick. Balance of the hands is more important than strength. Everyone thinks you have to, the kids will think you have to be strong in passes coming in. That balance between the hands is key to good catching. The other tip I like to say, tough hands, soft elbows. Elbows are the shock absorber. Your hands will sting a bit when your quarterback's whipping it at you. Okay? All right, good balance there. Perfect example of the shock absorbers of his elbows. Okay? Now, low catch, I call it pinkies or a scoop. It is not the perfect opposite in that you're going to try and catch it like this. It will often hit here, the heels of the hands. It will often roll up. It might be here. It might be rolling up. It's not the perfect opposite of the thumbs catch. Here you go. Don't back up. So that's my big thing whenever catching. Don't back up. When you back up as a receiver, this is a hook pattern. You're letting the DB come and knock it down. Step towards it.
Throw it higher.
No, step towards it, even when it's low. Don't give me that sass. All right? Step towards it. Now, there's an example. He took a medium throw and he decided to catch thumbs. No problem. More often than not, good receivers will do this so they can catch more often diamond than scoop. All right, standing up higher and higher so you can catch the scoop. Let's see if he's learned it. He still has not quite, he's still being a little aggressive. Let's see if he can not go back. There we go. Took it before the DB. Now, that or that, but now what about here? Circle drill. Notice I am not here. Do you see how this looks awkward and uncomfortable? This looks comfortable. All right? There and there. all right? So this is what you're trying to do. Now normally, you would step and move your body to do it like this. But in this drill, I'm gonna get Dan to keep his feet planted so he can work on the circle. Good. All right? I'll throw it, you just get ready. Good. I will tell you, people do this drill better to their left than their right. When it's on their right hand wants to take over and they just keep it like this. Let's go low, Dan.
Yep.
There you go. So working on all of the catches is important. Now, one thing I do a little bit crazy with all the coaching I've done is I try to show you that balance, togetherness is more important than strength. So I will build up to throwing as hard as I can. I will go slowly to make sure the person is safe and not in danger. But let's see how Dan is, all right?
At 7 minutes.
There we go. And I would back up. But I'm trying to show you that I've had so much success with girls, boys, where they get the technique and they trust it. And it may flap through, but they trust it because they know it's about balance. It's not a strength move, it's a coordination move. So Dan's looking good. Back up, Dan.
If you really want to train them, put a number on the end of the football and have them read the number when it comes in. They should have their eyes on these numbers right here.
Yeah. All right, so Dan's looking comfortable, but I probe that with the players because you will see many of them get really comfortable. All right, you're constantly looking for safety. All right, but Bell High School, I will have my older players. I can build up to, I can throw as hard as I want. They may not be able to catch it at 10, but they're trusting their technique and it's pushing it through, but they can catch. I'll move them back to 15 yards, and they're awesome. They're just simply great. And so it's a coordination move, all right? What did you, I just wanted to qualify one thing. What did you just say? You just
Read the numbers.
Yeah, so you can see I'm focusing on the hands. I don't feel there's enough focus on the hand position. There's a lot of focus on eyes, and that's a good example, and I fully endorse the eyes, but I've seen too many people not catch because their hands are like this. Here's another one. You're running a post. The ball's coming in this way, and they're catching it like this. Now, if it lands perfectly there, that's a catch. But if my hands are like this, I'm more sure of a catch because I've got a wall. And that's what I try to always do. Can we set up a wall of hands? So the other catch to work on, come down here, Dan, is over the shoulder. I know it'll sound sort of overly complex. When you and the ball are going in the same direction, the hook or the end is what we just worked on. There, you're not going in the same direction. You're standing here, the ball's coming this way. You're running it in. The ball's coming this way, you're going that way. Here, we're going to go the same direction. It's almost always a pinky's catch. It could be a pinky's catch up here. It could be a pinky's catch down here. If the ball's behind you and you have to turn for it, now it may turn into what we just talked about. So we want to work on there, over the shoulder, okay? Coaching points for me, I want the kids running. 80% of a catch is your feet getting there. Keep the arms moving. Hands are quick. Keep the hands moving. Don't look too soon. I never want my kids looking back at a pattern until 6, 7, 8 yards at least. So try not to look. Go. Just work on those 3 things. Now what would we do? Now we're trying to build up the patterns. Start teaching patterns. The biggest thing about offense is can you get your receivers to run the right depth? If you have a 5-yard in and a 10-yard out, can you see a 7.5-yard collision if you don't learn how to run the right depth? Here's my precision. Dan, I need you to run a 5-yard hook. I need your inside leg forward. And I need a 3-step hook. Okay? 3 steps. Most people think that might be 3 yards. It's going to be closer to 5. 3-step. You'll call it 5 yards, but your coaching point will be 3 steps. I know I'm maybe a little precise. It's a struggle. I get all my receivers to get inside leg inside leg forward. Maybe you want outside leg forward. I like inside leg forward. Let's say there's the cue, because I find your hips are pointing down the field. If you do this way, you're kind of like this, and then you run. If you're inside legs forward, your hips are pointing, you're ready to get down the field. Here we go, three steps.
The consistency.
Now, on this 3-step stop, Dan, we're not going to come back because we're so close. So you're literally just going to turn sideways and stop. On a deeper one, we might come back. 3-step stop, sad hut. 1, 2, 3. Good.
Wear cleats on the grass, especially when it's wet.
Let's do it again, Dan. Don't worry about 5.
Yep.
Just think 3 good steps and stop that, and that will be your yardage. Sad hut. Let's check it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's all the precision you need. It's that consistency of around 5 yards. Okay? So there's your 3-step, 5-yard hook. I know it's boring. Folks, if you're on defense and the other team completed a 5-yard pass and you flagged them, would you be happy or sad? Assuming it's first down. Would you call that a successful defensive play? I personally would.
Let's run back to the rules. You got 4 downs to get to midfield, which is worst case 24.5 yards away. So you only need 6 yards a down as an offense to be very close to a first down on the 4th down, right? 5 yards is a very solid game.
On offense and on defense, you're happy. It comes down to the flagging. Did you flag them? No. Okay, they got 10. Not so successful. Did you flag them? That's pretty good. They had to complete it, by the way, right? Can they complete? Would you be happy if you said, if they're going to win today, they have to throw 4 straight 5-yard completions to get a first down in the first zone?
That's tough to do, even at the top tier.
That's a good bet. So you're happy on defense. You're kind of happy on O's because you've finally got a completion. And we have the possibility of breaking yards and getting more yards. Right? So there's the game. So working on a 5-yard hook and a quarterback who can turn and have their eyes looking around to figure out who's open. For defenders, what do you think the most common defense is in flag football? Man-to-man first. You will die if you play man-to-man in decent flag football. You will get slaughtered. Here's when you will win. When you are athletically better than the other team,
All the time.
you can win that. By the way, you've given yourself the best chance of losing because I can design plays with a less athletic team to make man hell for you without too much. Set up everyone going one way and someone going underneath. The number of times that a good touch or flag teams play man is very rare. Goal line, you're starting to get certain situations. Man-to-man, where you're trying to set it up into man, where it's almost kind of a zone, then you match up with somebody as the play develops. I'm not telling you not to play man. I know what's happening. God, we just got through this and this. We've got a game tomorrow. Okay, we're playing man. No problem. I'm not saying it's bad. You will die in the long run playing man. So now you're not playing man because I said it's going to be bad. And maybe you believe it. What's the most common defense you're going to play in zone? 4 defenders.
A box.
A 1 deep, 3 short. By far, what many of you will start with. Why is that a good defense?
Because the play's not going to go deep to start with.
Well, you better hope not. Yeah. Can the quarterback throw deep?
Well, and
Right?
add a blitzer to that, right? The
Yeah.
blitzer starts 7 yards away. How long does it take one of your kids to run 7 yards plus however far they have to get to the quarterback? Maybe 2 seconds, maybe 3 seconds max.
So you've got 3 short defenders. What's going to be a big play for you? Running plays. Hand the ball off, let them run. You got 3 people short. Okay. 3-1 will be very common. As you get to higher levels, people know they will die in too much 3-1. I'm talking higher levels now. Quarterbacks throwing better. They know how to run a play. By far, the most common defense at the IFAF World Championships is too short, too deep, and you're constantly varying it up, and maybe jumping into things, what we call leverage. Who's short, you two will jump to them. Too deep, jump to them. So 2-2 becomes the thing. Okay. Now, what do you need if they have one defender deep in 3 short, 1 deep? What do you need to do on offense to beat that? 1 defender deep. How many people go on? 2. You could have 1 go deep and potentially beat 1 deep. But what we taught there is leverage. If you're going deep and the defender's standing deep, they have what's called leverage. We're not going into a great situation, 1 deep receiver versus somebody who was standing deep. So we say that's leverage. And so it's doable, but it would be really good if we had 2 people deep. Now we're getting into coaching points though. I've got a very good U20 team. A lot of my training is my quarterback staring at their 1 defender, turning and throwing. If she throws the ball 3 yards inside the sideline with a good defender, it's often incomplete. If she throws it 1 yard from the sideline, it's complete. Can we learn to hear and throw boom, or hear, turn, and then turn because we've got the deep defender moving a little bit? That defense is done. Once we can do that. We won the championship this year. It hinged on this. Corner, fly. The corner we added because now the defender has to crawl through the receiver's back. If the deep defender's there and I'm running corner, I now can throw it to the sidelines a bit. You see what I'm getting at? Where before, if I'm trying to catch like this, it's easy access. But now they have to go through the back of somebody on a corner, and that they have to start overplaying that, and there's the fly. But, so you're going to get 3-1. And then when you beat it, you're going to get 2-2. And then all those hooks really come into play, because what are they doing in 2-2? They're covering the deep better, and they're daring you to throw the short better. Does that mean you should never throw short against 3-1? Depends. Are they playing super aggressive? 5-yard defenders? Well, now they're daring you to throw it deep. Bell High School, where I've coached, South Carlton, where I'm coaching, I want my defenders standing at 7. I want to control the offense a little bit, so I'm going to give you the 5, but I've got 3 people hopefully ready to flag. So the short one is still good against 3-1. What depth are they playing at? Listen, I know this is over a wide range of ages. Okay, I'm not trying to say, listen, you 12 kid, I need you throwing that fly right up that sideline. Hit it, or we can't play. No, you're going to be doing running plays. You're going to be doing a variety of things which we'll get to. Okay? But I am trying to span across things. Having said that, I'm going to tell you, your team's pretty good, and you're trying to be not so much competitive, but you want some success. They're gunning 3-1. You're going to need 2 flies. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they're flagging you repeatedly and they've got some good defenders and you've played some worse teams and you've done running plays, and you're going, crap, we've tried 6 running plays, they flagged us at 3 yards. You're going, now what the heck do I do? Well, that's the nuclear arms race that you're in as you go through seasons and everything about what you're trying to work through. Does that make sense? I'm not trying to... you're just constantly trying to tweak things and see what they're doing on defense.
Yeah, it's the creativity for the misdirection plays that will break your zones.
Yeah, and we'll get into that a little bit about how to mention misdirection. Well, if I have 2 defenders short and these 2 are deep, I'm going to get a receiver to run into this gap, and this receiver can go up the sideline. So there's where you're starting to crisscross. And I will tell you though, I love it. Well, what's the number 1 offensive play at the IFAF World Championships, the highest level? 3 hooks in that deep. Over and over. All the time.
Just, you vary the one who hooks.
Because they don't even
goes
want to
deep.
play. They just don't want you to have score fast. So they say, first, prove to me you can cross the midfield line. Okay, half of IFAF is how close can we stop you to the midfield line so that you have 24 yards for your next set of downs versus 15 for the next 4 downs. See what I'm getting at? They're almost assuming that you're going to get across half. They're trying to position you. What does Offence want to do? Let's see if we can get 2 downs and get within 5, and now we've got it down that we're prepared, 3rd down, we're prepared to take the 1st down, or we're prepared to go for a deep one. And that's the level of strategy at the higher level. I coach kids, I don't even have a playbook, we have 2 main plays, we just keep running these plays. I've coached a lot. Listen, there's going to be more zigzagging, all no problem, love it. But I feel we just hammer away with execution, and we've been at great success, and the kids grow and understand it. All right, so patterns. You've got young groups. I would work on a 5-yard hook and a fly. All right, the defenses don't do U12, GU14, or U12 boys. If you can run a nice fly and put a pass out there, you've got a 60 or 70% chance of having a completion. We don't know how to chase angle and go knock it down. Maybe there's a good, maybe they aren't. You can run a hook and you can run a fly. That can be the basis of your offense. Okay, that's a good start. Can you do it? Can the quarterback put it out there? Can the quarterback, here's all these little details. Receiver there running a fly. Can the quarterback turn here, and then turn and throw back? What would be the first thing you do? The quarterback's just going to stare. The whole defense flies over because you're staring there the whole way. Can you build in a look off? Catch, turn, throw.
I'll tell you this much. Every kid who's quarterback thinks they can throw the ball 40 yards downfield with perfect accuracy. Coach them to throw the ball 10 yards or less every single time, and then take the opportunity later to throw that deep ball. You'll be so much more successful executing the small pass to little Johnny, who no one's covering because he hasn't done anything all day, than you are always just trying to throw a 25-yard pass downfield.
So, 5-yard hook, fly. What do we build in next? 5-yard in, 5-yard out. The next place. Okay? For me, just trying to show you the precision I get to doesn't mean they're going to do it perfectly. There's the quarterback. I'm going to run a 4-step out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice and square. 3-step in. 1, 2, low, turn, 90 degrees. Quick in, quick out.
You'll notice his feet are always under his center of mass when he's making that turn. Don't make your turn like this, because you're off balance. You want everything.
I call it
contained.
loaded. It's exactly right. Watch me load my right leg. Load, push. All right? So now you've got a quick in and a quick out. Here's the play that I use a ton. I have all flies, and I tell one receiver to run a drag. The center can't. A drag is a curving in. A center can't run a curving in. A center can only run out because they're right in front of the quarterback. So I call this a drag. This is a common tackle play where you just hit somebody short, and we call it a speed cut or a curving cut. I've shown you a square cut. Load, everything in one step. Cut. Here's a speed cut. I'm going to show you 2 ways. A speed cut is 2 corner passes. 1 step, corner, corner. And I've now, through 2 45-degree steps, gone 90 degrees. Does that make sense? Corner, corner, and I'm now horizontal.
Can I ask you, I'm like super beginner. I don't know.
No, okay.
Are you the quarterback?
No, I'm the receiver.
Okay.
Yeah, good, very good. Oh,
Yeah,
please.
The quarterback can move once he's caught.
Oh no, they can run around here looking for something to pass to.
Yeah. So he's the quarterback.
Going forward.
He's the quarterback. I'm the receiver. So I've got my inside leg forward. My terminology, make up your own terminology. My kids know that a drag is to the quarterback side. They know that a flat is the opposite of a drag. A flat is away from the quarterback. Kids know that an in is to the quarterback side. An out is away from the quarterback. A post is a 45-degree cut to the quarterback side. A corner is a 45-degree cut away from the quarterback. So another way of looking at it is running the bank of a tractor, a curve, 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 and you're now. Why do we have speed cuts? Because you don't have to slow down. I have to slow down for a square cut. But a speed cut allows me to go across the field. Great against man, right? Hard to chase somebody flying off the line and just curving. So drag. One, start curving. Now, I'm going to now say something to me that will seem a bit opposite, but I strongly believe in it. Common, very common. Get your head around receiver. The ball's coming. In many ways, that's true. But I think you need to go to a higher level, and that is finish your pattern and then look. Everyone's worried about getting the ball net. That person's got to catch a ball, they've got to turn to get ready, they've got to figure out who's open. Okay? Finish your pattern. I have another way of saying finish your pattern. Hips first, head second. Here's the way most kids run that 3-step hop.
Yeah.
And here's what it actually ends up looking like. Here's my quarterback over here, I'm going this way. And they never finish the pattern.
Well, what I tell my kids is you want to convince whoever's covering you that you're going to run all the way down to the other end, right? Do not look at the quarterback. Get your whole body and energy going deep so that when you plant and come out, they're on their back foot, thinking that you're going to blow by.
I'm going to exaggerate, and you're going to think, you know, you'd never do that in a game, but this is what I want them to do. Hips. See my hips starting to go?
You can
Head.
snap when you turn too, like a
Hips,
like
head.
a diva.
Hips, head. On the drag now. Accentuating this, I tell them, I want you to take 2. You do not look until you have taken 2 steps in the direction that you want to go. On a drag, I want them going across the field. I want them taking 2 steps before they look at the quarterback. So if I was doing this, 1, 2.
And those 2 steps are getting up to full speed,
Okay?
right? Because you're coming across that
Finish your
speed.
pattern.
The ball comes in, you're catching full speed.
I'm-
Turn it up.
The quarterback is over here. I'm running a corner. The corner's a challenge because they have to change what shoulder they expect to look over. So here I am, the quarterback's over there, here's the corner. Watch what I do. 1, 2, pink hair, she's my target. I'm looking at her, I know I'm running in the right direction. Now I look back. What do most kids do? Get your hair up! No corner, sloppy pattern, no sharpness to it. All right, once again.
Or even worse, they look over this shoulder.
They do, that's the one they don't. They kind of go here and they kind of look on the inside. It's the outside, so watch again here. 1, 2, look. Long balls, there's no excuse for looking there. That ball's got to go a long ways in the air. So, I'm trying to show you, I know you're saying, I don't have time for this. I get it. Believe me, I'm in exactly the same boat. You know, last year coaching U12. 3 of you I haven't seen for a week and a half. Okay? Let's get it in play. That's okay, but I've got a plan of how I will try to progress them when I have a chance to do it. These are little tips that I'll try to tailor-make for a game. You're going too deep. You know, I'll tell them when I want a 3-step, take 1 step and turn around, because I know that's going to be 3 in the game. But I've got to find some way for them to not run a 12-yard hook when the play is demanding a 5-yard hook. So, receiver precision. Okay? Post. There's my quarterback. Here. Post. 1, 2. Look. Okay? So, that receiver, folks, you're going to be pretty cats. But getting kids to run a 5-yard pattern and then having something deep, that separation is going to be the whole key. Think about it. You run a 5-yard, you're going to run an 8-yard. Remember I talked about where the defense is probably going to be?
7 yards.
You know? Think about watching a good football game, okay? Imagine me being covered. At high level football, this is covered. This is covered. This is wide open. 1.5 yards has gone from, oh my God, they're playing great defense, to, oh my God, they suck. 5-yard drag, 8-yard drag. That's the difference between, hey, I can throw it, and you know what you want with the young kid. We threw 3 completions. Yay! They came off, they had some fun, as opposed to, I think that's 9 incompletions in a row, right? Well, how do you start analyzing that? What do? I go, who touched the ball? Did defense knock it down? Okay, they did. Okay, why is that? Did we run the play properly? We did run the play properly, and they still knocked it down. Okay, I need a new play. Okay, they never touched the ball on defense. They were nowhere near. We ran 9 incompletions. That's on what do we have to do to run the play better? More often than not, it's not the defense causing the problem. It's just trying to get that level of execution that I'm talking about. You know, that's the challenge. Easier said than done. Football is that's why I don't think we have that 6 and 8-year-old uptake right now. You kind of need to be 12 to be able to complete a pass. You know what I mean? Oh, okay, so I need another person that would like to become a center. Come on up. I look at, when I coach and I play another team, how the center snaps the ball tells me. I'm going to be judgy here. I go, does that center have a good stance and a good snap? I go, there's a good chance that coach is pretty solid now. If the center is looking like they're perhaps going to the bathroom over the ball, I go, that coach hasn't dedicated some time. Doesn't mean they're bad, but they haven't dedicated some time. I love having 3 or 4 centers. Nothing worse than not having a bunch of centers, because that center gets hurt and you can't even snap the ball back. Okay, here we go. So, one thing in flag football, you might want to work on a variety of snaps. You might want a handoff, what I'll call a handoff snap. You might want a 3 or 4 yarder. You may want a distance one. Variety in flag football about how deep it is. So now we're going to try and get you into a good stance. What I want for the stance is the ball to be reached as far in front of you as possible. I want your thighs pretty close to parallel. They won't be perfect, they'll be like this, and your back to be parallel. How do you feel about that? We can give it a shot. Back parallel, thighs, tight angle, reach. Now we're going to talk about putting this ball on its point. I want you to remember we rest the ball on what I call the away point, not the near point. Most people, when I say put the ball on the point, they go like this. And do you see that doesn't look comfortable? Put it on the away point. Most people will line up like this when I tell them to put it on the point. I want it like this. You see that's going to be a lot more comfortable than trying to do this. Here. Take a throwing grip. Most people are going to want to snap with 2. At a very young age, you can get them with 1. It's not bad to use 2, but you can easily go to 1. Take your throwing grip. Here we go. So we're just going to start here now. Put your feet maybe a little more than shoulder width apart. If you're going to drop any leg, I know a bunch of people really like to drop the throwing leg. It's not the worst thing, but I'm going to tell you that you have more flexibility to go either way with this. So, here we go. Drop your right foot 3 or 4 inches. Just back. Not that, but that's like a foot. No, just wait, watch this. There you go. And wide? Wider? Okay, here we go. Take your stance, and I want you to just crouch down to try to get your thighs and back sort of close together. Good. Crouch your butt more, and reach the ball forward as far as you can. Now that is beginning to look like a good center stance. Okay? I want you to get up, square your feet, square your feet so they're both pointing straight ahead. Good. A little more. Good. Reach forward more and drop your butt down lower. And reach over and get on your toes a bit. Now flatten your back. You can raise your butt a bit, is what I'm trying to say. Good, good, look, good. All right, here we go. Can you see my feet?
Yep.
Set, hut. Good. Here's what I'd say, very similar to quarterbacks. Harder. I don't want accuracy right now, I want power. Reach, 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 look through a bit. Set, hut. Oh my God, it's getting better. Hey, harder. I want them finding every out because the faster we get in the quarterback's hands, the more ready they are to get the ball and throw it. Here we go. Set, hut. Good. I love that. Slid off a bit, but I like the attempt to get it faster. Now we got a problem because you have to run a pattern now. Many centers feel that the push forward leads to a great scissor action. They actually feel they can do better. But I got to tell you, as soon as we start trying to snap the ball while running forward, the ball often drifts up high. My coaching point for centers is find the aim point until you can hit the aim point. Then you know you can aim it right. And my aim point for many of my centers for at least half the year, I want you to feel like you're snapping it at the quarterback's feet. I want you to look at the quarterback's feet and snap it at the quarterback's feet. And that leads to it being here. You see what I'm getting at? Aim at the knees. And it will come here because you're going to find that when they tilt down, the ball often goes high. Now, what you're trying to do is run a 5-yard hook. So we do a lot of center practice. We do some snapping, but we need to get it into running a pattern. 5-yard hook. Here we go. Snap, 5-yard hook. Feet wider apart. Good. A little wider. A little wider, a little wider. Put it more. There you go. Look through your legs. Set. Hut. Good. All right. Real solid. Let's do it again. Nope, you're snapping. And I'm going to go back a little bit. All right. Work on that range. Especially older, if you can get a 7 or 8 yard snap, that's more time to throw. Here we go. Set. Hut. Good. So that was high. I need you to aim at the knees. That was good, but really nice. Trying to run a harder pattern. First time kind of went out and ran the pattern. Now you're trying to run a harder pattern. It's exactly what we want. Aim at my knees. Hard as you can at my knees. Bend your butt, bend your knees more. There you go. Set. Hut. There it is. All right. Okay. Nice. So, I just love coaching up the center position. It just is another little engine of the offense. When you can get your center to snap the ball. Okay? Now for an intimate moment between Dan and I. Here we go, Dan. All right? Get ready for a snap. You do want to work on this one too. Crocodile hands. I like to, in tackle we'd work on, putting the hand up against the butt. You don't really do that in flag. You just sort of want, I didn't really say that very well, I'm sorry. Resting it against the tush, and then pushing to keep that contact so there's no gap. But here, often you just sort of scrunch down here. Dan needs to look though. Here we go. Ready? Set. Hut. Okay, and you can take that direct snap. Okay? You could have more of contact that way. It does make it a bit easier, but most people just scrunch down and take it direct. Let's watch Dan. Now, I've talked about going harder on these snaps, but there is often a 3-yard snap where it's just going to be more of a flip. Set. Hut. Okay? And so work on some ranges, especially at the younger ages. I will say if you watch IPAC around the goal line, you will see lots of direct or very close snaps where they just do little flips. All right, with that rush off to come through a little more traffic. So that range of snaps. On their website, you'll also see Football Canada YouTube. They'll have some junior championship play, which is nice because it's youth, and you'll just see maybe more penalties and things that they might be better to watch than IPAC. It is Football Canada rules, but you can see all this stuff. You can see all this stuff. Great place to study plays, to see what type of plays people run. IFAF, high-level flag is becoming more multiple quarterbacks lateraling it around in the backfield more, trying to get more people to come in and cover the quarterback so that there's less receivers and DBs. So you'll see a real evolution in strategy. Okay, so We've talked to you about the precision of receivers. We've talked to you about how to me, taking time on that center is really important. I have everybody try being a center. I want to identify anyone that can be a center in a crunch. Okay? And it's just a really important part of that play. Centers need to run that 5-yard hook. They need to run what I call flats, curving quick outs, curving. It's just they can never run a drag, because a drag is to the quarterback, and you can't run to the quarterback when you're right in front of the quarterback.
As a center, when you're coaching them, the primary responsibility after the snap is not getting in the blitzer's way, right? Be cognizant of where the blitzer's starting. So if you're running a 5-yard hook or a 5-yard flat, whatever it is, you are letting the blitzer pass you before you cut them off, or you're getting through that zone very quickly, right? They're the one who causes the most blitzer interference penalties, so you really got to talk to your centers to be aware of who's coming in when, and don't get in their way.
Okay, so flags, running with them. Again, I think we've gone over, everyone understand that this needs to point away from the body. All right, if it was on this way, you see how it's angled towards my body? That's not good. It needs to be on in such a way that it is away. Okay? This has to clip on and then has to be tightened up. This has the ability to hold the excess. And if you give them to them, you can work this through here. Like you could take this apart and have this for the many kids, they need this in the middle here on the back. You can take apart these flag belts. And this can actually work its way through here if you worked at it. It could fit through there. Now you've really got them tucked away, as opposed to having to wrap that part of the belt around the front and make sure it's not there, because refs should call that if someone grabs that, it counts as a flag, even though the flag can't pull off. So wearing the flag belt properly, tightly. Technically, if somebody made a flag pull and it wasn't holding and the flags were on like this, refs might say you're flagged the moment anyone gets close to you for not wearing your flag belt properly. They would have to decide, is that more on the receiver for having it too loose or more on defense for wrenching it out of the way? So, running with the ball. Okay, flag guarding. All right, go over my flag here. Flag guarding. Sorry, that was a little hard. Let's look at this all right, go again. Flag guarding. Whether you're whacking it or putting your hand over. Here we go again, Flag guarding. And I thought you're allowed to hold the ball out. Here we go again, the goal line's close. Flag guarding. Flag guarding. Expose the flags. High quality players will run like this. I thought you were really ready to call flag guarding the moment you have to expose the flags. For kids, they can't do this. I call it run like a squirrel. All right, run like this. You might hear refs, good refs will be yelling out, hands up, hands up, hands up. Some of you will be annoyed, come on, there's too many flag guardings. In other words, I'll be saying that's exactly what they should be doing, trying to get them. Because it's too hard, and you're going to see people wanting to do this all the time. Here's a tricky one, the quarterback. You know, did the quarterback do this before the rusher got there, or as the rusher went for a flag, did they do that to make them avoid it? That's where you can be really tricky. You know, which came first? Did they do this first, or did they do that after? So there's a gray area. But teaching kids to run so they don't flag guard.
Two things Rod mentioned here that flash back to the rules. So you have, when the whistle or when the play stops is where the ball is. So if you are reaching out, like,
find the ball.
yeah. So if you're reaching out, that's fine. Touchdown if it's crossing the line. What was flag guarding here was not the fact that they were reaching out. It was reaching into the player to block the reach for the flag.
Well, yes, but I was saying if I was running at you and I did this.
Yeah, 100%. He's using it as a shield to keep them away. That's flag guarding. But you can reach it across the goal line. The other one is quarterbacks are sacred in football. Right? We don't hit them in tackle football unless absolutely necessary. We look to protect them. So in flag football, the way we protect them is as a defense, You cannot touch them at all. If you hit their arm, it's a massive penalty.
Even
right?
on the follow through.
Even on the follow through. So teach your kids they can be up and blocking, but they should always have one hand coming in for the flag, right? And go for that flag and stay low.
Gray area. I'm throwing. They're grabbing at the flag. That's contacting the quarterback. That wouldn't be called with a reasonable effort. Going to throw. Miss the flag. Going for the flag, but missed it. Hit you here. Interrupting your throwing action. I can't tell you how every rep would call it, but I personally would say that's roughing the passer. Give them some gray area, you know? Were they perfect? Were they right around the flag? Did they miss it? That's okay. Did they come right in front and they kind of whack and they can't even make the throw? Now that's getting into pass interference. Illegal contact on the quarterback. Okay? Yep.
So if the rusher is rushing and he's got his hand up to block and he hits the ball while the ball is in the quarterback's hand.
Roughing the passer.
As long as possession's still in the quarterback's hand, it's considered one a full thing.
But even if the ball is released from the quarterback's arm, roughing the passer.
Right, but if they hit the ball,
No, I know. I just want to make
if
sure.
they
that
hit the ball
even
the
if they-
second it leaves, you're good. You're good.
Okay. Canadian rules last year, not this year's rules. All right, Dan, rush me. Okay. And I begin the action, the ball's not there. What are you trying? What
do you want me to do?
Go for the flag.
Okay.
Grabs my flag. Did you see the arm had moved forward 2 inches before he grabbed my flag? So here we go. He's coming in. Ball starts forward. He flags me. Last year. Acceptable pass. The ball had begun moving forward. The flag occurred after the ball had begun the throwing motion. This is not the throwing motion. This is the throwing motion. No flag. No pulled flag. This year. Grabs it. Flag. Dead. Now, hard part here is this is often where footballs are released. I will tell you that many refs will judge the ball around the head. It might not have been released here, but if the ball was passed here, something they can judge it against. Don't be upset if you feel the flag occurred now and they don't call that. But definitely in this part, that's hard. It's going to be a hard call, but that is different. Football Canada, very lenient. IFAF, ball in possession, then you can be flagged.
Again, we're into the real nuances. The refs are kids in a lot of spots. This is for fun recreational league. We whether they call it or not, we don't need to argue that call.
So you're going to have it real hard because it's really tough because kids do not release the ball like Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes, done. You can understand.
There is a big one.
You know, so
all day
you're
long.
going to see what kids go out. And so find a moment. Ref, the rule is the ball has to be released. I just feel there's been 3 or 4 where it clearly hasn't been released. Yeah, it's your judgment, sir. Young ref, whatever. I just want to let you know, are you aware that if they're in possession when the ball has been, when the person's flagged, it should be dead. So, little thing I do, you don't have to do it, but at U12, especially early in the season, if there's a fumbled snap, I often try to tell the ref, replay it down.
U12, we got ball in hand this year, though.
Yeah, true. Well, actually, yeah, U4, yeah, that's right. Let's make sure we talk about that. But receivers, running with the ball. You want to work on, to me, there's 3 main moves now. Let's say 3.5. Fake one way, go the other way. Your typical fake. All right, go for my flag. Oh, big spin. Okay, so I call that a spin. You're allowed to spin as long as you don't jump. Here we go again. Half spin. And go. Make sure they work on their moves. 3 main moves. Deke, spin, I call it half spin. That half spin is the most common move in higher level flag. Here, boom, boom, get back to running.
A very good drill that you can help your kids practice this is to create an alley, much like we have here, and put your kids on each side and have one kid run through each of the alleys with the football. Just avoiding keeping their flags the entire time. The kids on each side try to pull their flags.
The fourth move, I don't find beats people, but it can get you a few more yards, and that's called the dip, where they end up scrunching down. I'm gonna be really bad at it, but they drop the flags, and they.
Everything I've seen, you have to be extremely athletic to pull this off and maintain your speed. Almost no one I've seen in Ottawa can do it effectively.
That's the dip. You're allowed to dip. You're not allowed to jump.
If your knee touches the ground, you're done. So dip is done when the knee hits. You can get low, but you gotta keep your knee off the ground.
Yeah. Another key point for offense is running some handoffs. A few years ago, a forward handoff in Football Canada counted as a forward pass. That is no longer the case. So Dan's my halfback. All right, forward handoff. Can Dan throw the ball? Yes, he can, because it's a handoff, not a forward pass, and he's still behind the line of scrimmage.
I can also then actually forward hand it off again to somebody else, as long as we're behind the line of scrimmage.
Do I need to go over that? Does that make sense? A handoff can be in any direction, and all it is a handoff.
If you flip the ball, it's not a handoff. As soon as I let go of the ball, it's a forward pass, not a legal forward pass if it's behind the line of scrimmage, but it's not a handoff.
Yep. It's a lateral.
Yeah.
It's a lateral.
Backwards, no
If you're
problem.
running back and you actually can still throw it, obviously.
Yes.
Yep.
But a handoff there comes from like.
From the front is not, it's not a pass because it was never in the air independently. It was transferred from one person to another while each person had possession of it. It does not count as a forward pass.
Jet sweep counts as a forward pass, even though it's the same.
If you did, boom, boom, forward pass.
Yeah. If I'm coming through here and he flicks the ball just a little, that's a forward pass, no more forward passes.
But if you hold it out and.
Yeah, if he holds it out and I take it, I could give it to somebody else or I could throw it myself.
Until they cross the line of scrimmage, then they can't throw it after that, or lateral after the line of scrimmage. So, I would do backward handoffs. Now I almost only do forward handoffs, except in, you'll see one situation, because it allows the quarterback to look down the field. You may find variation in what a ref calls a fake. Right now, the fake is totally in the IFAF rules on what the quarterback does. If the quarterback reaches and simulates, it's not whether this person has their hands up. If I do this, then it's a fake, but let's say you do it without doing that. No, just run normally.
Okay.
And I did that, that would be, even though he did nothing, if I reached it.
Well, even if he just gets the ball and sits here like this and doesn't move, it's not a fake. Right? And I can run by and not come near the ball.
I know, and so that's where the problem will be, you know, if the hands out, I would be trying to say, don't be playing that game.
Yeah.
You know, I'd be saying, because I wanted the U12 self-snap, I want the ball out so that there's a movement. It's not gonna happen, folks. Here's what's gonna happen in many of the younger games where the ball starts in hand.
Right?
You're gonna start here, ready, set, hot. What I want is I want something that everybody knows the play has begun. That it's not the words, it's the ball movement. Ready, set, hot. Nothing, no ball movement. Ready, set, hot. Well, the ball movement is the key. And so that will be a debacle, not a debacle, whatever, U10, U12, but it would be nice if there was something sharp. We're giving you the ball in hand. You're not allowed to run around like you could before the snap in the regulation. Like you could take a running snap where the ball is snapped and you're running to catch it. But you're getting the ball in hand, so you're sacrificing a little bit of position, but have a nice start to play, so people know the play start. Working on handoffs, all right? Showing the right gaps. So let's go, have you down there, Dan, so the camera can see. You know, I'm sure you've done this before, but if Dan's going to take a handoff on this side of me, does he have the opening towards me? All right? And so, coming this way, stop for a sec. You could probably do it this way, but you want to get the gap open so the ball can slide in.
And the reason why, if the side that you're handing off is low, the elbow's in the way. right? It can knock the ball out unmistakably. But if it's
So-
open, you got a nice big gap here to put it in.
Coaching points, I tell the kids you have to be really good, you want to let the ball hit your stomach. To the point of, when we do it at speed, you want to hear a bit of a slap. So Dan's got to let that ball hit his stomach, and then you just close over. People grab at the ball, the whole success rate is going to go down if you're grabbing at the ball before it gets there. So you want to hear it, boom, hit,
It also
and then
lets the
take it.
quarterback take it away if they don't want to give it to you.
Yeah.
Teach your kids, whether you get the ball or not, you have the ball. It'll help the defense follow the kid who doesn't have the ball.
So working on handoffs, could be behind, could be in front. I do like to work on what I call a scissor handoff, where the quarterback is running. I personally, let's say you can do it where Dan comes around, I take the ball and I do a handoff, possible. I just find it's easier for the blitzer to rush both people, where come in on the quarterback who's got the ball and chase. Whereas I personally like the scissor, where snap, go, and I'm moving one way, the runner's moving the other way, because now that rusher blitzer is gonna have to choose who to cover. And in general, I kind of know that they're often going to pause on the runner, and therefore I'm gonna buy my quarterback more time. Then they're gonna be coached up, stay with the quarterback, and then I give it, and now the halfback has a lot of time with no rusher on them potentially. So I personally will work on two handoffs, quarterback stationary, okay? And then I like to work on quarterback and both moving towards each other. Little coaching point, think more separation. Second of all, I tell my receiver or halfback, turn, pause. Has the quarterback started running? Go. Because they just go so quick, it ends up being all but a stationary handoff.
Yeah, you end up
Separation,
from here and they're going
pause
early.
and I'll say, and you
Yeah.
start moving, it's the same. It's just a blob right in front there.
Yeah.
So that's just me.
It keeps the defense honest. It keeps them spread. It keeps someone covering me here. He snaps the ball one, and then I go.
I'm not a big handoff person, but I do have one other way of doing it that I find really is surprising, and it gives me a freebie. So I'm the quarterback down here on the line of scrimmage. Takes a little bit of coaching. I call my wide receiver on the call side W. So I might go red means the W lines up on the right, and then I'd go 93, which is telling everybody to run 9-yard hawks, and my 3 receivers gonna run deep. And I'll go red, 93, W, handoff. Okay? And this says that I'm going to run, and the W and I are going to do a scissor handoff. And I just know that almost always the first time the blitzer comes in, they can't help but see this, and they go with it. And I'll go set up. Here we go. I'll just keep running with it. And I constantly coach my quarterbacks. They just run right up to the sideline. Nice pause here. I've got an out that you don't know about. Right over here, I got a corner behind, and I got a quarterback with lots of time. Okay, lots of time.
And if
I can do a
W's
throwback.
a decent quarterback, you can throw
I
it
can do a
back
throwback,
here.
halfback
Oh,
here. Receiver can loop around for a play. All right. Coaching points. Go back there. They're starting to understand the play. Okay? Now, if I fake it to him, there could be a corner right there that because I faked it could come in. So I tell my quarterback, do not turn in any way until you're sure you want to hand off. Set hut. This person could be one there, they can't come in.
Yeah, they're
There was
frozen.
no fake. There was no fake. And now, again, I've got all that time to throw. Yep.
So if you run a fake, like a motion fake, the quarterback who's rolled out into the shot can't run, right?
Correct.
So why would the defense, if the corner stays out there, they shouldn't, if they didn't follow across like in the zone, they're just gonna sit in their zone, right? So
Sure.
shouldn't the rusher default to always pick up the moving piece because you can't run, right?
True. But I personally feel giving the quarterback a lot of time to throw. Second of all, that corner steps up and that slot is right there over in behind them. So you're exactly right, and now you're getting into defensive scheming. Personally, my feeling is this, and it's gonna be a bit opposite, but I have no trouble with how you're going about the analysis. My analysis is this: I cannot stand the best thrower on their team having lots of time to throw, and I want that person under pressure. There's a reason that person's a halfback, and if I can help get the ball out of the best quarterback's hands into their second best quarterback's hands, I will then learn how dangerous that person is. If that person becomes really dangerous, then I'm going to start bringing up another defender that's going to be almost man-to-man on that defender to handle the possible handoff. That's a problem because now it's 3 DBs on 3 receivers, more space, but that's the game in the game. For me, I want to find out how good that halfback is before I dedicate much time and space to it. Yeah, yeah.
You've got the DB that's being rotated.
That's tomorrow.
DB rush from
7 yards.
from the flank. Like they can rush from the
From 7 yards back
They gotta be 7 yards off the line
when
of
the
scrimmage.
ball was snapped. Yep.
Yeah.
So theoretically, you could have your corner standing 7 yards off, saying if the guy goes,
Exactly.
if they don't, wait for the quarterback to go into the class and then rush.
You could,
100%.
if they have some, that's why personally I like to do it with the receiver in line, because there's nothing letting you know there's a halfback coming. You see, if I had Dan back with me in the backfield, I might line somebody if it's 7 yards so they're free to do anything they want. But right now many corners would be lined up 7 yards anyway, so it wouldn't be a problem, right? But yeah, that's the scheming right there and what you have to be prepared for on offense. There isn't a single offensive play that can't be schemed by defense, and there isn't a single defense that can't be schemed by offense.
I find a lot of, especially with girls football, a lot of the schemes involve the quarterback to get as far into the flats as possible, then to settle, then to throw.
Yeah.
To create space, and it feels like that would be.
And to me, what I would do is I would line my rusher up on her left, so that we're going to force the quarterback to their left so they can't throw as comfortably. But if that's the case, I want a rusher dedicated to that quarterback to keep pressure on them.
So if you roll back to what we talked about at about 12:30 about how we're gonna, after the first 3 weeks, we'll figure out who's strong, medium, and weak, and tier for the playoffs. This conversation is a tier 1, top tier conversation, right? The lower tiers, even the medium tiers, you almost don't even have to worry about this at all, right? You'll have, medium tiers will have 1 or 2 really good players on their team. Everybody else is out there with their friends, trying to have fun. You might be able to pull off this once or twice in a game. The top tier, you'll see this.
So let's just take a moment. Throw. Quarterbacks. Okay? Running patterns. Sorry, catching. Running patterns. Center. We're building pieces. Okay? Now we have run patterns. Now we're trying to put them together in a scheme. I'm boring. I feel very good about this. I don't feel enough people do this. 3 short, 1 deep. There's some coaching up there, folks, because when I go 3 short, 1 deep, can you come up and stand up to your receiver? Can you stand to your receiver? Can you come up to your receiver there, and you're going to be the center here? I know this is going to seem like too much, and there's no problem. You can. So one of the things you can do as a offense is you can make up cards. I strongly recommend 3x5 cards or a play sheet. Show them in the huddle. Okay, we're running this play. Okay, but I'm a little different that way, and I just like I like having a system where I can really have maximum flexibility. So right now, just so you know a little bit of organization, there is absolutely nothing wrong with having a card and saying, Billy, you're this circle, Johnny, you're this circle. Absolutely nothing wrong, and it's easy. Have a card, tell them what they are in the huddle, run the play. I need this to be a 5-yard end. You know, great, go for it. Absolutely. Hey, there's only 4 people in the huddle you have to talk to. You can make up the plays yourself, as long as you've got that language in of what does this mean and what does that mean, and they know. So that's the coaching point. For me, I have a W receiver, an X receiver, the center is always Y, and I have a Z. And the kids know that red means right, so W and X go right, Z goes left. Blue for left, they're on the left, he's on the right. All right, I know. Blue for left, all right? I have a block formation. sorry, rock formation, tighten up. Rock. And we have a block formation, I just flop it over. I have a rip formation, go run over there. Rip out, back to wide net, back to spread out, and your W, you're spread out. You're, and Z has to come over here. Sorry, I pointed you mine actually. So this is my rip for trips and blip. I know this is getting more advanced. I'm just trying to let you know there's a level when you run an offense of what level of organization you're going to work to. Go back to red, please. You go back over here. Z, come on. Nope, you're there, W. Z over here. You're Z. So, I have a play 50, 5-yard hooks and outs. Red, 53, 50. Everyone's running a 5-yard hook or an out, except the 3 receiver. 3's going deep. Bit complicated for 3. He's got a lot of directions to go. He's going to go corner left or corner right. We either will talk about where to go or you're just going to choose as you run the play. They have to know that he's gone. You're the end of the line. You've got an out. We want to spread our 3 short receivers across the field. You've got an out. What do you have? Hook or out? No, because you're the end of the line. You need to go and do an out to spread the field. Dan knows he has this whole middle because he is gone. Red, 51. 1 is W, 2 is X, 3 is Y, 4 is Z. Who's going deep on a 51? That. Does Dan have a hook or an out? He's an out because he's the end of the line of the 3 short people. Not telling you to use this, I'm just letting you know that's my standard, what I've worked with Bell and my 20 teams and my teams. It gets more challenging, but it's worth it. All right, red, 54, deep. You've got the out because you need to know that he's gone and you are the end of the line. But what I like about this, I get a chance at any age group to pick who's going deep. This is Johnny's time to get a deep, maybe have a deep pass. Maybe he doesn't get it, but he knows he was called on a deep play. All right? I can do it now with 10, 20, 30, 40. I know this may seem like much. My 10 to 40 series is all deep, except your number, if you're called. 10. Everyone's going deep except 1. Drag. 20. Everyone's going deep except 2. Drag. 30. Everyone's going deep except you. You're going to do a hook or an out either way. We might tell you in the huddle which way we want to go or from the sidelines. 40. Drag. Sorry to do this, but I actually can use a second number to tell somebody I want a medium. So if I went 43, all right, we work to this, folks. We work it. Drag, and you know you're going medium on top. So I have a way to add a second level. My point is, I can do all of that with all hooks, bury it up, all flies, bury it up. A little bit of stuff to build on, but it's about getting that ball around, moving it around, teaching the quarterback. You've got to drag from Dan. Hey, stare over here, stop, and throw it back. Look it off. It's that quarterback training at that point. How do we huddle? Yep.
Sorry, just pushing about formations, because when you went into the your trips formation, there's just clarifying because it's 5-5. There's no rule that you have to have X number of receivers to the left or right or the center.
No,
Right?
you can do whatever you want. They just have to.
They could all be huddled around the quarterback.
Right?
They could all be huddled around the quarterback if they
So
wanted.
there's no limit, there's no
Nope.
number of how many or how few have to be on the line of scrimmage, or how many have to be to the left or the right of the ball.
Nope.
Okay.
I get precise about huddles. I've told you I'm kind of organized this way. All right, so I personally, this is very opposite. No one does it this way anymore, but I like my back as a quarterback to the line because when I'm talking, the other team can't watch who I'm talking to. So here I am, my back to the line. W, you're always on my right. W's here. Z is always on my left. And X and Y are always right in front of me. It doesn't matter which side you're on. I like this because the quarterback now knows who they're talking to. It allows me to sub somebody in and know that they're standing in this spot. This is just a constant thing we do from day one. Doesn't matter. I always know who the center is. You're holding the darn football. So I have a pretty organized huddle. W, Z, X, and Y, and we run our plays. All right, here we go. Let's go with a blue. So blue, you're the tough spot, you have to know you go opposite to the left call. Blue means left, you have to go opposite. You're not opposite, you're on the left right now. You need to go opposite. Where do you guys go in blue? Blue means left, my W and X. W and X always go to call side. I called you to the left. It's so nice that they are trying to really act what young kids would be like and just be oblivious to what the offensive coordinator is saying. I really like how they're taking on those roles. That's impressive, all right? All right, so this is our way. The reason I like to see in touch football, I kind of would keep the wide receivers out because it was kind of a chore bringing everyone in. But you kind of need 2 plays, whereas here, when I can flop the formation, I have kind of 1 play. We have a left version and a right version, but no one has to learn something new in a way. They just keep wondering what their number is and the way they go. So that's another part of that is how to build the organization. But the reason I like this, I know it might seem a lot, and I totally get it if there isn't time, but what I like about it is my team builds. And by the end of the year, I just see that they're that much more kind of knowing what football is in a way. That sort of organization. I just find they get better and better at it. And that's sort of fun watching because of that flexibility that's built in there. Thanks, guys. How are we doing for time? Let me just trying to make sure I haven't forgotten anything. And this was, I was trying to just kind of just go on and then try to answer questions. So, trying to get on strategy. So, nothing wrong with cards. Folks, you could, if you did it right, you could have your team run over to the sidelines, you be there with a whiteboard, diagram the play quickly, and send it back in.
You got 25 seconds.
Half the time, they're right beside you, right? The other half, because we like to have all the teams on the inside of the field, therefore both teams will be on the same side. But you could, now there's a little problem in flag where in touch you might have a pouch or a pocket, no pockets. So if you had play cards for the quarterback, what do? The Italian quarterback puts them all right down his back, and they would allow that because it's not in the way of the flags. They might allow it here, but it's because it's coming from the front, they wouldn't allow it as much. But if it was small and it was thrown right into the front shorts, that they would allow that. So a quarterback with play cards. But again, it wouldn't be that hard for your quarterback to run and get a play card and get the play. You could have somebody run in with a play card. Many people will find play cards very helpful.
Wristbands?
Wristbands, yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
You can get 20 wristbands on Amazon for $100.
I was gonna say they're pretty cheap.
So many people will feel really good about play cards. Can't say enough about them, you know? It just allows you. You're still gonna need some organization though about how to know what, where you are on that card. Either receiver 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or the player 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or letter, or something, but they have to know who they are and what they're looking at. They need to know where the center is on the play. So even there's some instruction that you need to do.
Depending on the age group you're in, and depending on the skill level of your team, week 1, you're ambitious if you've got more than 8 plays in your playbook, right? Because each play can be flipped. I'm even willing to say 4 to 6 plays is all you need in week 1. And make sure your kids know how to run those 4 to 6 plays. You can then add on to them or do varieties from those spots, but teach them how to do those repetitive. Where week 1 is less than a month away. Have you practiced with your offensive line yet? Do you, like there's one hand up here, I haven't. Right? I will meet most of my kids the week before and maybe have 1, maybe have 2 practices with a random coach that doesn't have a playbook, right? So don't worry about overcomplicating the situation, right? Rod and I have been doing this a very long time and have the advanced level system that you can do. But focus on some real fundamental things that your kids can nail and then build off of those.
And that is the most important thing for your quarterback is some repetition of plays. repetition of what they're looking at, repetition of what they're throwing. Repetition for everybody is absolutely key to being able to run a successful play. Important tweaks, more than tweaks, important concerns that are going to come up. For example, looking off my offense, but this will apply to all of your cards. I need to go through what happens around the goal line. What do you think happens on my all flies, one person drag? It's not rocket science. I'm not trying to say there's some crazy thing. What do you think I coach up my receivers to do when I have all flies and a drag? And I'm on the 1 yard line. Whose patterns are going to be affected a lot on the 1 yard line when I run all flies, one drag?
The flies.
The flies. Now, I know you know they're going to run out of bounds, and we don't want that. But I try and talk to them, folks. I need maximum spread of you three. You're going to run to the back line and turn around, and I need you to get to the two corners in the middle, and then you can slide a little bit. So we got to. It's not rocket science, but we got to chat about that. I might have the drag a little shorter. I might have the drag when they go in that 3-1. We want to bring them up, but we also don't want to, throwing over people is a little trickier. But I might tell that person, let's go 2 or 3 yards. And by the way, if you're feeling a lot, you can stop and go either way. I'm not saying I'm leading that often, I'll just take the drag, but I might say, when I get to that bigger game and they know it's coming, this guy's calling out, every play we're going against them. He's calling out, watch this one, what airmail, what were you calling? Airplane. Now, I have to also know, who gives a crap if they know what the hell's going on? It's about execution. He knows it, I know it. Just because they know it's coming doesn't mean they take the right angle, so we can't.
We could see it coming, but we couldn't stop it half the time.
Well, they could, yeah, that's half the time, but I might, if I feel it's been a problem, I'll say stop and go back and make a few things. So there's some coaching, because the goal line will be an interesting area. All right, now I'm on the goal line and I want to run all hooks and somebody deep. Listen, I need you to go 5. You can't go deep and then bring it back to the goal line. Deep person, you got to get to the back, and then you've got the whole back line. You've got the whole back line to run. All right, it's not crazy stuff, but I need to prepare them. What happens when I'm running deep and I hit that goal line? Spread, stay. No, you get to run that whole back line. Get open. So that goal line will always be an interesting situation.
Should you have different plays for your goal line?
There's no doubt teams might have special plays for the goal line. I don't. But,
The real key is
For me, I'm always-
you can't run the ball, right? So you need to pass the ball legally forward. So you need to have something that gets your kids open. And if they just go and stand there.
New thing this year, Football Canada, if you were in the no-run zone and you got a penalty that took you out of the no-run zone, you were still considered to be in the no-run zone, not an IFAC. A penalty or a loss, even if you have a loss in the Football Canada rules, if you were still considered in the no-run zone.
Interesting.
But in IFAF, if you exit the no-run zone, you're by a loss or a
So
penalty.
it's first and goal, I'm on the 4-yard line. We get sacked on the 7, it's 2nd and 7. I can now run the ball.
Can you make fake pitches? Well, first of all, fake pitches mean nothing in IFAF. Can you make fake handoffs in the no-run zone?
Yes.
Can you make handoffs in the no-run zone? You can, but it'll get whistled dead immediately.
Can you make the forward pass behind the scrimmage line?
No.
And goal line? No.
Run play.
That's still so.
Yeah, I know what you mean. So, why would you fake handoff? Why would you fake handoff? I'm sorry, just a sec.
You can hit
I'm sorry. You can hand off in the no-run zone.
You just have to pass it.
That person has to pass. Why would you fake handoff in the no-run zone? You might not see, because it's amazing what defenses will respond to,
Yes.
even with a fake. Now you've lost. Anyone can rush in from any depth, but you can do all those things.
You can
But
freeze
just
a
have to pass.
blitzer,
Yeah.
you can freeze a defensive back, you can, yeah. These are kids, remember, right? Like we think like we're NFL coaches and they're all NFL players, but these are 10, 12, 13, 14-year-old kids. One of them in all of our league maybe is going somewhere with football, right? So we can temper our enthusiasm in those levels.
That's why I like that scissor handoff, you know, even at the goal line where you're making a fake, but maybe you don't actually make the fake and you're standing way out there and you just change the whole angles of the play. You know what I mean? And doing that, you know, you've got a center running right across the field. So lots of creativity there. So
Question over here.
Sorry, wrong one.
Good.
Just to clarify, you're within 5 yards of the it's the no run zone. You can fake it, but you can't hand it off in any direction.
you can. I'm sorry, I misspoke and then I tried to correct it. You can hand it off. That person has to throw the ball.
Could you do like hand it off? They hand it off. And just the last person.
You can hand it off 38 times. The last person has to throw the ball to advance the ball across the goal line.
The ball always has to be thrown or ran after.
There must be a legal forward pass to exit the no-run zone successfully.
Okay.
Legal meaning the pass has to cross the line of scrimmage.